Welcome to Designed for the Creative Mind, a podcast for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs to run their business with purpose, efficiency, and passion. Because while every design is different, the process should remain the same. Prepare yourself for some good conversations with amazing guests, a dash of Jesus, and a touch of the woo-woo, and probably a swear word or two. If you're ready to stop trading your time for money and enjoy your interior design business, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Michelle Lynn.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. And yes, I know I say this every time, but I'm so glad you're here because my guest today is a total badass. Okay, get ready for this bio. Rachael Bozsik is an international keynote speaker and the in-demand elite personal branding coach behind some of the nation's most talented interior designers, from Luann Nigara, Sandra Funk, Kathy Kuo, and more. From Harvard Business School to Forbes, Rachael has been recognized as the go-to elite personal branding coach for luxury interior designers. With an extensive background in monetizing personal brands, women seek their strategic expertise when they are ready to land consistent luxury clients, exclusive press, and seven-figure partnerships. Think, being positioned as the go-to for luxury new builds, press and elle decor, paid speaking at High Point Market, and partnership with luxury architects who fill the pipeline for you. So with the truly innate ability to build lucrative brands, over 40 press outlets and 30 plus universities have requested Rachael as a speaker to share her distinguished craft. And here she is on my little podcast.
Hi.
I'm so
Thank you for having me. I'm excited too. I'm excited too.
And it's funny, just before we started recording, y'all, we were talking about how we have some mutual friends and it's just such a small world.
It is. The design industry is small and it's fun.
Yes, it is definitely fun. And it is. And I think that that's a good point, just starting off, is that because the design industry is so small, it's imperative that we manage our reputation and just really, just be cognizant of it. It's not just about the business, but it's also about the other designers and the energy that you send out. So I'm going all over the place, but let's talk about, so what exactly do you do? Like, that's a lot of stuff. And I think I understand it, but if you were to break it down.
Yeah. So in short, I work with women, interior designers, and I support them to really monetize their personal brands. So my clients come to me when they're in a position in their business where they are like, I am exhausted working on so many small projects or working with a ton of clients. I want to go from 30 clients a year, 40 clients a year, whatever it is, down to like 10. How do I do it? I want less clients, more money. And I am behind the scenes of positioning these women for luxury. And then we do it through the 4 Ps. It's press, positioning. Sometimes it's paid speaking, 20, 30%, and then those partnerships.
So give me an example of a client that you helped with those 4 Ps.
Well, I love this because you and I were just chatting about this like 2 seconds ago before we hopped on. You were mentioning that you were on a flight to IDS and you connected with one of my clients, Robin Burrell, who's going to be speaking at your summit coming up.
Yes.
So Robin literally 2 days ago was here with me in Chicago. We do intensive coaching days. I call them Lux days. They're in Chicago or Charleston. And she came to me where she was like, listen, I'm at a point in my career where I really want to work with clients that give me the full scope of their home. I want everything from design to construction, studs to styling. I want to own it. Right. So
yes, I can totally hear her saying that too.
Yeah. So I will get with a woman and I'll say, okay, so how are we going to do this? The first thing is positioning you in the luxury market in Dallas as the go-to for this. Let's talk about press. Let's talk about getting you featured in AD, Better Homes and Gardens, and really making sure that you're known as the go-to. And for her, partnerships. So who fills the pipeline for those types of clients is architects, builders, realtors. So how do we form the relationships with those individuals? Let's say a luxury real estate broker, so they will fill the pipeline for her. So it's a perfect example. Just saw her.
So, yeah, I know. It's such a small world. So what are some ideas, like if somebody's just starting or somebody's wanting to build their bank account so they can invest in somebody like you, what are some ideas for them to position themselves? Like, where do you start?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is really recognizing that there's power in niching down. I always tell my clients this, and actually I was featured, or I had an article with AD recently, and I was quoted in saying, people don't pay top dollar for general experts, meaning there's a lot of people calling themselves designers. That is positioning yourself as a general expert, and you're not that. So start asking yourself and looking around, like, what clients do I really enjoy working with? What sorts of projects do I really thrive in? Is it historic homes? Is it people with new builds? Is it individuals that are buying their first property? I have a client that we niche down, and she just does luxury 6-figure playrooms. Right? I have other clients. Yeah, there's a niche down. I have clients where we really specialize in luxury new builds, custom homes, or I have clients where we do multi-generational properties, or clients where we'll say it's historic homes, or clients where it's second and third family homes. So I would say step one is really looking around and identifying, like, what groups do I really enjoy serving? Because I'll say it again, people don't pay top dollar for general experts. And if you want to work with less clients, more money, your power is going to be in your niche.
Well, I think a lot of people are afraid to niche down because they think that they're going to limit their market. But you're right, people are going to pay top dollar, because I'm not going to do a 6-figure playroom. I mean, I'd like to, but people aren't going to hire me to do that. They're going to hire the expert at that.
Right. And I always tell my clients, like, when you don't declare your brand, other people are going to declare it for you. When you don't declare it, other people declare it for you.
Oh, that's powerful.
Isn't that good? Well, it's the truth. And honestly, I've been sharing this a little bit on social recently, but my fiance was involved in a massive accident about 3 months ago. He was on his bike and got hit by a car. He's okay. No head, no neck, no back or spine injury. Like, we're okay. But he just got out of a wheelchair. Like, it's been a storm. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think there was a great metaphor and something that I'm using often with my clients. So when we got to the hospital, the first thing that started happening was we were on the floor with everybody and anybody. Right? They were like just trying to figure out what was going on. We had the nurses, we had doctors, we had ER, like we had EMS, like all of it. Everyone was there. And what do? Naturally, I act like a pit bull, right? Like, I am like, I don't know anyone here. I don't trust anyone here.
Right.
And I'm panicked, right? And then it felt like a decade later, but honestly, it was probably like 30 minutes. We got brought upstairs and we had a surgeon come in, and he said, listen, I'm a specialized hand trauma surgeon. So all of these wrist breaks, elbow breaks, leg breaks, that's not me. But I want to specifically talk about the hands. I'm here at Northwestern, and I've done thousands of these surgeries. I do these surgeries for top pianists in the world. Like, we are going to get you moving your hands. This is my specialty. So I'm using this example because what do I start to do? I start to take a deep breath. I start becoming like the brand ambassador, like salesperson for this guy. I'm like texting all friends and family being like, you guys, he does the top pianist. He's like the top at Northwestern. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I would like sell everything to make sure we get in with this guy.
Right.
So the difference is floor number 1, there were general practitioners. Floor number 2, specialized surgeon. Specialized surgery is where your money is. Specialized surgery is where clients trust you. Specialized surgery, where the recognition in your work. I help my clients go from general practitioner to specialized surgeon. That's the best way to say it.
Absolutely.
Isn't that such a good metaphor?
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank goodness your fiance's okay. Holy crap.
He's totally okay. It was a ride. But like, from that, it just goes to show, like, when you're spending big dollars, you want to make sure that you're in the hands of someone that says, this is my expertise. So it goes back to what we were just saying. Like, if you don't declare your brand, the market will declare it for you. Meaning you're going to have referrals that are smaller. You're going to have random people reaching out for projects that don't align. So if you're a new interior designer, I would start looking around and thinking, who do I enjoy? Who do I enjoy? And then what do I enjoy? And honestly, like, the majority of my clients like are in a position where they've like played around in their business a little bit. Some of them are like, as you mentioned, like big time, big name interior designers. But then I also have like a big section of my clients that are up and comers and they just haven't figured it out yet. So I would say like, take a deep breath, just start observing. I do a lot of work helping my clients to figure out that niche and positioning that niche, but you can start looking around yourself.
No, I love that. And in fact, in my paid program, my mentorship, the Interior Design Business Bakery, one of the first exercises is riches is in the niches and drilling down to determine who do you like working with?
Yeah. Because it's so important.
You don't have to work with everybody.
No, and you shouldn't be right for everyone either.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was a big aha moment when I was a baby in business.
Yeah.
It was just, I wanted to please everybody. And now it's just like, here's that ain't going to work. You're not going to like me for that.
Yeah. And I think it's hard as women to, number one, be able to say no, right? In a lot of ways. And then the second thing I see, because I only work with women, so I see this all day, every day, them having a hard time with self-promotion. And if you're the specialized surgeon, there's really an art and there's a science to the self-promotion. If this hand surgeon didn't tell me that he does trauma surgery for hands,
right,
I wouldn't have the same trust. So there's really an art and a science to it. And in addition to like figuring out the niche, another big thing that I do with my clients, I think is so incredibly important, is making sure that you're marketed as the go-to. I always tell my clients, in the luxury market, they're buying you first, your portfolio second.
Absolutely.
So why are you credited for that niche becomes the next section. You can't just be like, and I'm doing luxury playrooms, right? Like, okay, that's great. I'm glad you found the niche. But part two of it is like, why you over everyone else? Or you want large custom? Guess what, sister? Same with everyone else. So why you becomes the second piece. Yeah.
I love that. And it's true. Oftentimes we shrink.
Yeah.
It's just for a variety of reasons.
Let me interrupt myself to take a quick moment to thank Satinoff Insurance Agency for sponsoring this episode of the Designed for the Creative Mind podcast. Their support and understanding of the interior design, decorating, and home staging industries is unrivaled. Satinoff understands what our businesses do, and they provide insurance that lets me sleep at night. Yep, this is the firm that I use. And they will do the same for your sleep habits and your business too. They're more than an insurance agency, they're an extension of my business. They take care of the worry because they are the experts, which allows me and my team breathing room to do what we do best, design beautiful spaces. You can find their contact information below in the show notes. Give them a call today.
So you were talking that you also work with individuals who are just kind of up and comers. What stage would you suggest you start thinking about press, positioning, partnerships? I guess that's 3 of the 4 Ps.
Yeah. So I always tell my clients, like, the sooner we can figure this out, the more success you're going to have, right?
Faster.
The sooner you niche down, the sooner you start getting press, the more success you're going to have. So I see women at various stages in their business. I come to them, usually they're at a point where they've worked a few years in their business. You know, they've hired their first employee or virtual assistant or whatever that looks like. And now they're ready to really be taking themselves to the next level. So they're not like day one in business by any means, but like they have some images in a portfolio that I can help them rebrand and remarket and putting together marketing packets for them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
In fact, you and I were talking before we hit record that one of my bakers had come through your program as a client. And that was fun to hear, because I think that you're right. Once you kind of feel like you have your feet, you can start.
And it's like, how can I start making some serious cash becomes the question. I'm always like, how are we monetizing you, sister? Like that's what I'm concerned about. So it's like they do some projects, right? Like they have experience as a designer, like they know how to handle, doing proposals and whatnot and the installs. Right. And then they're like, okay, I am tired. I'm working with too many clients. How do I work with less? Sometimes it's 2 years into business. Oftentimes I'm seeing around then 2 or 3 years, and then I'm oftentimes seeing them 15, 20 years in business. It just depends. It's
also just knowing the options, because when I got into interior design, I didn't know. Like I didn't know what I didn't know. And back in the day, there weren't people who were out there talking about it.
Sure.
So I was just thinking, where was Rachel in my career like 10 years ago?
You're sweet to say that. Robin said that to me the other day, and it means so much to me because I feel like I get to work with like the most talented in the industry, like the most creative, incredible women. And then I come in and I'm only tweaking, 5 to 10%. I'm not tweaking your blueprints. I'm not telling Sandra Funk how to design a room, right? But I'm coming in and I'm changing it, and that's where your money is. So it's really powerful for me because I feel like I get to help women take care of their families. I get to help women create a legacy and really market themselves in a way that feels powerful and in alignment.
And I also think that what you said is like, you're not tweaking everything. It's just a few degrees here and there.
No, I am not your systems coach. I am not your financial coach. I am like, let's get you less clients, more money. Like Absolutely. I had a client recently. Yeah, I had a client recently and she made about 600 grand in her business last year. And she just closed 600 grand in the past 3 weeks from us doing her consultation call scripts and editing. So she was sitting on it. We just had to rework it. Yeah.
Well, and that's also part of it is that, if you're flying and you're flying from Hawaii to New York City, if you're off by just a couple of degrees, you're going to end up somewhere in Canada.
I know, right? And it's hard to view yourself as a consumer. It really is. And I sit in the personal branding space all day, every day. But even when, I'm auditing my programs or website, I'm always looking to other women to have their insight because it's hard to view yourself as a consumer. It really is.
Absolutely. So who do you consider as who bleh.
That's okay.
Whatever. Who will you consider as a client? Like, how does every interior designer that contacts you, are they a potential client for you?
Good question. Yeah. So the first thing that I look for is a woman that's ready to run, and she's ready to run quickly. Because how I work is I'm developing all of her notes, right? Like I'm literally handing over 30 pages. I'm like, here's your copy and paste pitch template to send to the press. Here's your website audit. Here's your consultation call script. Like, here is your business plan, like 30 plus pages.
Amazing.
Right? Here you go. Here's your marketing. So I want a woman that's going to run, and she's going to run quickly. I'm only working with about 3 clients a month. So I become incredibly invested in my women. I'm behind the scenes being like, you have a call with who? Say this, don't say this. And then I'm like, how did it go? Tell me everything. Spill the tea. Right. So number one, that's incredibly important. Typically my clients are making over 500 grand a year, sometimes less, sometimes 300, let's say, but they have been just moving and growing incredibly quickly.
Right.
It's really like that spot where they're like, things are working, things are moving. I've hired a few people, or maybe I have a VA, I'm getting some larger projects, and they're like, I want more of it. How do I do it? That's when they're really coming to me.
I love that. It makes perfect sense too, because it's like, let's just put the frosting on. And it just makes the whole process sweeter. Yeah. That's why I call my program the Interior Design Business Baker.
It's adorable. It's really adorable. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. So they're around then. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's 3 years that they're in. Sometimes that's happening at 10 years. It just depends on the woman. But they're typically like over, I would say around 500 grand, maybe a little bit less, but like quick movers.
Well, you're not inexpensive. So you need somebody who's got a little bit of loot in the bank and willing to understand that it's an investment.
Yeah, my client's really looking at the work with me. Is she's going to make it back in upgrading someone on a light fixture, right? Like in the next work together. Or my client's looking at my work being like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to go get my largest client as a result of our work together. It pays for itself. And then I have the tools forever. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that a lot of people have a hard time getting their mind around. It's not an expense, it's an investment.
Yeah.
So when you can take somebody and they will, take your money and increase it exponentially, that's not an expense. An expense is a new printer.
Sure. Yeah.
But you and I do the same thing. It's like my program's not inexpensive. But if it can turn around and make you that money back in a short period of time and then raise it exponentially over the next year, same thing with you.
Yeah. Like, I always look at it as like, what are you willing to pay to skip a 5-year learning curve? And I say to my clients, you want to double or triple your sales in a year, and you want to be featured in AD and Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and your largest clients to date. What are you willing to pay for it?
Right.
I coach virtually at 9,500 and I coach in person at 15,500. I'm like, is that worth like right under 10 grand for you to get your dream client and get featured in AD? But it just depends, right? Because if you're in an early stage of your business and super overwhelmed and, you have to figure things out and you're scared to jump in, then the answer is no. And that's okay. I think that we meet women where they're at when they're ready, which I think is an important thing too. Yeah.
Because it does. It takes a light bulb goes off.
It does. It takes courage to really believe and invest in yourself and say, I'm ready to run and I'm going to take advantage of the support that I'm getting.
Right. And knowing that you're out there.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're out there. So talk to me about partnerships because I don't fully grasp. I've just heard a variety of different things. Like, tell me what
am I considering a partnership? Yeah.
Yeah. And what are different options for designers?
Okay, so 2 groupings on partnerships that my clients fit into, one or the other. Public facing partnerships. I have clients that want the HGTV show and we are pitching them for HGTV. I have the clients that want the Rizzoli book deal. I'm helping them get the book deal. I have clients that want a licensing line with Kravet. Public facing partnerships. I'd say about that's 20-30% of my clients.
Is there a lot of money in it or is it for...
It depends. It depends on what the deal is, what it looks like, and then how they're using it as leverage later, right? Like there's big money to be made in having like a Target licensing line, but in order to get to a Target licensing line, there's smaller steps that you take to get there. In many cases, it's a woman that I meet and she is a personality and she is someone to, really, really look to. They walk in the room and they are just like a star and you just absolutely adore them. Right. So I recently had a client and she was a public facing partnership. Once again, that's like that's like probably honestly like a fourth of my clients. The other grouping of the clients are fitting into partnerships where I'm viewing them as pipeline filling partnerships, not public, pipeline filling partnerships. So partnering with individuals that fill the pipeline for you. So we'll use Robin as an example, just because you and I were both chatting about her, right? Robin's husband does tons of renovations. So they are natural partners to fill each other's pipelines. However, there's a lot of other interior designers that aren't married to someone in the same field as them. Right. So if you are a luxury interior designer or wanting to step into the luxury market, you partnering with luxury realtors, luxury builders, that when they see someone that matches your specialized surgery, whatever that is, right, that you're declaring, they go ahead and they give you the call. Okay. So it is like having like 5 people around you. It might be 2 builders, 1 realtor. It could even be a yacht salesman, depends what market you're sitting in, right? Or my client that we just have her specializing in playrooms. We have concierge pediatricianists. We have principals at those like 6-figure nursery schools, and those individuals are pipeline fillers. So I have conversations with my clients of how do we approach these individuals? What do we say to them? How do we pitch yourself? What marketing materials do they get? And what do they get for referring you? And it depends. Yeah. So they're pipeline fillers. And I always tell my clients here, my goal with them is that they're sitting behind a velvet rope. And like, I want to trademark that. And I asked my lawyer and they're like, you can't trademark velvet rope. But I always say it in the sense of you're sitting behind a velvet rope. And your goal when you're positioned as a specialized surgeon is that people fill the pipeline for you. That you have the builder calling you saying, oh my gosh, Katie, I have this dream client. They're building this home and it's really, X, Y, and Z, which matches you. I talked about you. I sold you. I told them that you were in Better Homes and Gardens and House Beautiful. And they're so excited to connect with you. You're like pretty much at the finish line. You got to do the call. Yeah. So that's where a lot of my clients, big money comes from, is us strategically setting up partnerships. And
that makes perfect sense. We used to have our studio right outside of a private airport. And I was like, how do I get in there? Like,
yeah.
That would have been a perfect opportunity.
Right. But you want to make sure before you go after partnerships, because I see women do this often. They're just like, hi, I'm a designer. And I'm like, oh no, right? Yeah. That's like everyone else. You got to tell them who you are, what your niche is, what you do. And then it's always helpful to have the press behind you. So if you want to go to that private airport, it's very nice for you to have New York Times behind you or Absolutely. AD or Elle Decor, right? Yeah. So that's really the work. Yeah, that's really the work that I do, is helping women figure out like, what is her special factor? What is this niche that we can make money on?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I help her market herself so we can really get her into a position where it's less clients, more money? So similar to how designers walk into the room, and I see this often where they like look at the fireplace and they're like, let's flank it this way with 2 sofas and do da, da, da. They almost get the download. I get a similar download, but it's just monetizing a woman. It's just in a different market.
Amazing.
Do you enjoy this podcast and you're wondering how you can start your own? Well, you're in luck. We help entrepreneurs launch their podcast in 4 weeks. My name is Haili Murch, and my team and I manage this podcast. I'm a podcast expert who specializes in helping entrepreneurs launch their podcasts. Podcasts are a great way to expand your audience, provide a free resource for your audience, and to grow and monetize your business. We have openings this fall to help entrepreneurs start their podcasts. We would love to help you achieve this goal before the end of the year. Don't keep waiting. The podcast world needs your voice. We also offer support after the launch process to help maintain your podcast, and we do provide other services to current podcasters. If any of this sounds like something you want to do and need support with your podcast journey, please contact me at hello@hailimurch.com, HAILIMURCH.com, or see the links in the show notes to book a call. We cannot wait to help you start your podcast.
So
it's fun. Yeah.
What did you do before this?
So I sold my previous company. So I went to High Point University in North Carolina. So I've been in the design industry for a long time. Yes. I used to, when I was like 17, 18 years old, be setting up market and being like, can I buy a floor sample, and like putting it in my bedroom. I'll take the scratch and dented. I like probably hoarded like 10 Regina Andrews lamps at the time, like very cute.
That's hilarious.
But so I went to High Point University. I studied design, was a licensed realtor, very, very young in my career, became a licensed realtor at 20, and just was always obsessed with professional development. I used to do marketing for Rochambeau, Hooker Furniture, and Phillips Collection. I was doing all of their book signings, right? With like Carlton Varney, What's New, What's Next, New York Design Center, High Point Market. I was organizing all the parties, book signings, and really was marketing and PR behind some really interesting brands. And then I ended up, this is like, I'm going to try to really condense it, but along the way, I saw really young women that were in college that were so incredibly talented. I went to a design school, so lots of interior design women, right? Or fashion girls that were saying to me like, wait, how did you get this really cool job? Like going to New York City and going to Dallas and Vegas, and how do you do it? So I started organically coaching college women to really position themselves and their brand to land their dream jobs. So I'd be like, what are you really good at? How can we market you? How can I get you ready for the interviews? And then all of a sudden they started landing dream jobs. And I was like, okay, I'm on to something
here. It's time to monetize myself.
Yeah. So at 22, 23, I started a private coaching practice called the Brand Girls. And I had a team of 7 that were really training and teaching my methodology across the country. Spoke at, you mentioned 30 universities, actually 75 universities. And I was partnering with Oprah's Leadership Academy or speaking at Cornell, or Teen Vogue was bringing me in all of their events. And it was incredible from a mission perspective. I mean, we are taking girls from, trailer parks in Kentucky to working their dream job at Vogue. And what was incredibly interesting to me along the way was they were so incredibly talented. They had the GPA, they had the leadership skills, but they just didn't know how to market themselves. Same thing with the clients I work with now. They're so incredibly talented. They just don't know how to market themselves. So I ran that company for years. I used to keynote speak in my heels, like all across the country, coaching women, ended up selling that company. And along the way, my girlfriends who were also in the design industry, of course, were saying to me like, wait, how did you get that feature? Or like, how did you get that partnership? So I started organically coaching my girlfriends, right? Connecting in the industry, going back to all my contacts, back to my university days. And then that's how I do the work now. So now I'm production behind the scenes of some really incredible women, showing them what I did with my career. I'm saying like, I've done it before. I didn't want to be so public facing like I used to be. And now let me show you how to do it with your business.
Right. I love that. And it just goes to show that when you find like your secret sauce, your superpower, you know exactly that this is where you're supposed to be.
Oh my gosh, it just feels so in
other women to
alignment,
success.
doesn't it?
Mhm.
I'm like, it's always been my calling to like look at a woman and be like, this is what makes you awesome. Let me help you monetize and reach
Right.
those opportunities. It's special to me. Yeah.
That's very cool. And I think a lot of people listening can understand that from a design standpoint, because I mean, how many times did I get a phone call? Hey, can you come over and help me rearrange my furniture? Tell me what I need to do here and there. I used to work for wine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
No, I know though. Yeah.
I could, sell me a vineyard.
Totally, right? I remember back in my university days when I was starting that first company, I was like, oh my gosh, I spent like $18 on groceries a week. I bootstrapped that business and I was like a bacon turkey Bravo at Panera was like, I will coach for an hour. But like everyone goes through the stages
Yes.
of trying to figure it out. Yeah. And I think that's what makes the story so beautiful, for everyone as entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Oh, that is too fun. Too fun. Rachel, I could sit here and talk to you forever, but instead of going down the bunny trail of more business, I also like to have some fun.
Okay.
So the next segment is a quick rapid fire Q&A session, just so that we can all get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay. So when was the last time you laughed until you almost peed yourself?
Oh my gosh.
We're starting off with a good one.
That's such a good one. Honestly, it's been a rough past few months with the accident. But I had a girlfriend that called me and we were just cracking up. So maybe like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, probably a nice relief at that point.
Yes.
Good laughter.
Yeah. Thank God for girlfriends. Yeah.
Amen to that. Where do you find inspiration?
Oh my gosh, homes. I'm obsessed with real estate. I spend 2 hours on Zillow a night. I'm not kidding.
I can understand.
We're looking for a dream home right now. So Zillow it is.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Stalking it. So what is your favorite color and what do you think it says about you?
I'm split between a mauve and a forest green. I'm going to go with the forest green. I love everything Ralph Lauren, cozy intimacy. And I think that's just like how I run my life. It's very, very intimate relationships. I'm not a group coach. I'm a one-on-one. I am like in your field. Yeah.
Right. Very fun. What was your favorite subject in school?
Art history.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
There's a theme. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Helping women become and monetize their best self.
So if you won $10 million tomorrow, what would you spend it on besides your dream home?
So I sit on a board of a children's home of kids taken from Child Protective Services. So each year I sponsor 50 girls for Christmas, anywhere from undies to toys and Barbies and everywhere in between. So I think I would probably start my own children's home. Yeah.
Oh, they're
like my favorite heroes. I ran a summer camp with them last year. Like they are taken from the worst abuse cases, child abuse cases. So it's really special to give them a sense of normalcy with summer camp and Christmas.
Right.
So I'd probably do something like that.
Oh, yeah. That's very cool. That's hits my heart right there.
Yeah.
Do you have an innie belly button or an outie?
Innie. That's cute.
What scares the hell out of you?
Oh my gosh, birds. I hate them. Absolutely hate them. I will cross a street if I see a flock of pigeons, and that's not helpful. I have the pigeons in Chicago. Then when I go to our Charleston place, we have the seagulls. So I just can't get away.
Oh my God. They're circling around you.
Yeah.
What would you pick for your last meal?
Oh, probably a cheese board. I like the variety. I would do a cheese board. Cheese board, crackers, bruschetta, olives. I can't pick one, but I do it all.
You'd be simple. So you just need a charcuterie spread.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Whenever my clients come to visit me, and we do our dinners and stuff, I'm always like, do you want a cheese board? For dessert or to start? I'm fine either way.
Just put some honey on it. It can go either way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So last question is, what's the best compliment you've ever received?
Oh, wow. That I'm a dream maker, that I make women's dreams come true. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's really special to me. Yeah.
Agreed. That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Rachel, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. I've just loved everything. I feel like there's a connection. I think both of us serve a lot of women.
I think
it's
so
just
too.
Such a special place to be. So tell our audience how or where they can connect with you.
Okay, well, I'm always on Instagram. I'm taking a little bit of a detox right now. My assistant is doing my posting, so I'm not sure when this is going to air, but it's at Rachael Bozsik. If you just want to say hi, I use it as like a scrapbook almost. And if you're interested in working with me and learning more about, how I work with clients, you can visit my website. It's rachelbozsik.com to apply to work with me, and we can kind of take it from there.
And spelling, this is all going to be in the show notes, y'all, but her last name is spelled exactly like it sounds, Bozsik.
You got it. And Rachael with an extra A.
Oh, you do have an extra A, don't you?
A-E-L. Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
My sister got the name Claudia and I got the name Rachael. I'm like, why'd she get the special name? My mom said, well, there's an extra A in yours. So I guess that's what makes it special. Yeah.
That's so funny. Well, I will make sure that all of those details are listed in the show notes so that our audience can reference it. And for those of you who can benefit from even more resources surrounding the business of running your interior design business, join the growing community on Facebook's private group. Yeah, I know it's Facebook, but it's the best place to run a group. And that is called the Interior Designers Business Launchpad. And as an extra plug, I'm going to remind you that we're having the Interior Design Business Success Summit coming up in October, the 12th, 13th, and 14th at Dallas Market Center. All of that information you can find on my website, designedforthecreativemind.com. So until next time.
Hey, y'all. If you love the show and find it useful, I would really appreciate it if you would share with your friends and followers. And if you like what you're hearing, want to put a face with a name, and get even more business advice, then join me in my Facebook group, the Interior Designers Business Launchpad. Yeah, I know, it's Facebook. But just come on in for the training and then leave without scrolling your feed. It's fun. I promise you'll enjoy it. And finally, I hear it's good for business to get ratings on your podcasts. So please drop yours on whatever platform you use to listen to this. We're all about community over competition. So let's work on elevating our industry one designer at a time. See you next time.